one of my subscribers asked if I would show some easy ways how to do crocheted ribs, so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm Simon Henry. If you haven't seen me before, it's really nice to have you along. Welcome back to anybody who's been with me for a little while, and stay tuned. So the first one we're going to look at is this one. And this is a back loop single crochet. Really, really easy. So we're going to go into just the back loop here of our stitches. So you can see normally if we were going to do a single crochet we would go into here. We're not going to do that today, we're going to go into just this back loop only. Most people when starting a row would do kind of one chain and then go into this second stitch. That leaves a bit of a wavy edge, and as you can see this edge is really nice and straight, and the way we do that is we don't do a chain at all, we just do the first stitch into this loop here, so single crochet. So all we're going to do really easily is work single crochets just into that back loop all the way across the row. And this pattern is a one row repeat, so we're just going to keep doing that over and over again until we've got the length of rib that we require. Get a nice rhythm going, be nice and relaxed. If you're going to do it for a rib for a garment, a jumper or a cardigan or something, I would probably go one full hook size down from what you would normally do for the yarn that you're using, and that will just give a slightly tighter and stretchier rib. So you can see we're not going to work the one chain, we're just going to go straight into this very first stitch here and work single crochets into that back loop all the way along. As you can see, that makes a really nice and interesting rib. It's also very stretchy, which is quite nice to say if you're going to do this for the bottom of a garment. So that's rib number one. That was back loop single crochets. Now this one is rib number two, and for this one we're going to do back loop half doubles. So as you can see here, you've got these V stitches here at the front, and then if you kind of look here, we've got this extra little stitch at the back. So what we're going to do is work half trebles all the way across into just that back loop, and I'm doing exactly the same as I did before. I'm not working any chain at the beginning of the loop, I'm just going to go with the stitch straight into that first stitch. So as you can see, again, nice and easy, nice and steady. Now what happens when you go straight into that first stitch with half doubles, or in the UK we would call that a half treble. Anybody who's seen me before knows that because I sell patterns in the US and most of my viewers are from the US, I do always talk in American terms, so don't get confused between UK terms and American terms. So I've come to the end of that row and turn. Now to keep this edge nice and straight, I would normally just literally go into that first stitch there, but what that tends to do is leave, can you see on this first row here, leaves a little loop, and we don't really want those loops. So for that very first stitch, what we're going to do is wrap the hook around, and then we're going to turn the hook round so that it twists. I'll show you that again. So we've got the first loop on the hook, we're going to wrap the yarn around, and then we're going to twist the whole thing round, and then work that first half treble into that first stitch. And what that does, it just eliminates that little bit of loose yarn there. So we're going to work those half trebles into the back loop all the way across. When I'm testing yarn, this is the stitch I tend to do, and this gives me a really good comparison between different yarns. So I'm just going to carry on working to the end of that row. This is a gorgeous colour yarn. I've got no recollection at all of buying that. I don't know what I bought it for. And it would be done this way, and you can see again it's got quite a nice amount of stretch, not quite as much stretch as the single crochets had, but it still looks very effective as a rib stitch. So next I'm going to go on to this kind of rib, and this is worked with front post and back post double crochets. So again, we're not going to work any chain at the beginning of the row. So you can see the first of this row, the first stitch is these rib or posts are at the front of the work, so that's what we're going to work into, I believe. Yep, here it is. So we're going to work a front post into the first one, and into the second one. As you can see, the post is at the back. Let's see if I can get it a bit clearer for you. The post is at the back of the work, so we're going to then work a back post double, then we're going to work a front post double and a back post double, and so on and so on. So we're just going to work all the way across, front post double followed by a back post double. It's a nice easy rhythm to get into. This makes a very thick fabric. This would be suitable for either a thick jumper or a jacket, working this stitch all over, or a blanket or throw would work really well in this, because it works this yarn up nice and thickly. I'm struggling a little bit here because I'm working at arm's length to get under the camera, so this is a little bit awkward for me, but I hope you can see what I'm doing. So all the way across, front post doubles followed by a back post double. This grows really quickly as well. It's quite surprising if you're going to work something large like a throw or a blanket. This would work up very quickly, and that's what it looks like. Little bit of stretch, not a huge amount, not brilliant recovery. It doesn't spring back as well as the single crochets do, but the stitch is very effective. So finally we're going to look at combining some of these stitches in the same row. So if we were going to work a jacket or cardigan or even a hat, you can see what I've done with this is I've worked the single crochet rib here at the bottom to here, and then we've worked the half double, so we work in two different stitches in the same row, and that effectively knits a welt or a rib as you go along. Perfect, I say, for jumpers and cardigans, perfect for hats. So I've got 6 of these back loop singles to start with. Exactly the same again to keep this edge nice and straight. I'm going to work into just that first stitch without any chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I'm going to move on to half doubles. So this would be called a back loop half double, and I'm going to work that all along the row. This is quite nice, like I said, for anything that you need a rib or a welt on the bottom, because you're working it all together. You're not going to attach that separately at the end. I will eventually put a pattern on that utilises this. Now remember, when we're working from the back loop half double, we're going to twist that first stitch before we work it, and that keeps this edge like this, really straight. So back loop half doubles, and we're going to work that to the last 6 stitches, and then we're going to change to back loop singles. I quite enjoy doing these stitches. You don't really have to think too much, it's nice and relaxed. You can get yourself into a nice rhythm. I will at some point do a video on using crochet to relax, and kind of one of my missions is to get some of my men students doing this to help with their anxiety. It's really surprising what it can do. I'm down to the last 6 stitches now, so I'm going to do back post singles all the way down. And that last one. And there we have it. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, and I hope for the person who requested it, they asked me not to mention their name, so I hope the person that requested it has learnt something from that. And if you've seen how incredibly easy it is to do these stitches, I mean, this is suitable even for absolute beginners. I urge you to have a go. If you've liked this video and you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. What else helps me, which is actually quite a big help to me, is if you let me know in the comments exactly what you'd like to see. And I promise that, you know, if enough people ask for the same thing, I will try and do something about it. So I've been Simon Henry. Happy yarnsmithing. Love as always, and I'll see you very soon.